Tintin XL 92.5 FM.
All right, welcome in. Frank Frangie is on vacation this week. He will be back either for Monday or Tuesday's show, depending on how the Gators do in San Antonio. Hacker is here. JJ LaSelva is here. I am Hays Carlyon. Hacker, we've got a lot to get to. We're going to have Lee Smith joining us in our next segment to talk golf, a little early Masters preview. A lot of good stuff to get to with Lee, but we're going to talk a ton of Jaguars, a ton of Final Four. At 5 o'clock, I know the world is eagerly awaiting this. I'm going to offer up my Jaguars schedule guess. Yes, because there's nothing that I love doing other than taking up airtime with silly things that I've concocted.
No, I like
it. The purpose of it really is to look at it's a unique year because they rotate in the AFC West and the NFC West.
Yeah, they're going to the Pacific time zone a lot this year.
A lot of times. And so I wanted to kind of put together a schedule of how it might look because obviously you also have the game at Wembley. So it's going to be a very difficult road schedule. And anyway, so we'll do that. It'll be a lot of fun. Again, of the games that I pick, maybe two of them will actually end up being the slot. But that's not going to stop me. Anyway, so we got a lot to get to. A couple of just notes from around the NFL today. We won't spend a lot of time on this, but Joe Milton has been traded to Dallas, which is interesting. So he will now be Dak Prescott's backup in Dallas. The Patriots going with Josh Dobbs as the backup to Drake May. And then Geno Smith getting a nice extension in Las Vegas. Obviously, the Raiders traded for him, and now he gets a 2-year depending on the report, somewhere between $75 million, $85 million. It puts him right about average in terms of starting quarterback salary. But that one surprised me because I thought Geno Smith was pretty much just going to be a bridge guy. But I would say with this deal, that probably does take the Raiders out of any chance of trading up or probably even taking a quarterback if they stay where they are right now, which I believe is 7.
Yeah, obviously Pete Carroll loves Geno Smith from their days in Seattle, brought him with him to Las Vegas. Geno Smith, that's one of the all-time great comeback stories, man. That guy was left for dead, thought he was a bust, thought his career was over, and a total resurgence in Seattle. We'll see if he can keep going in Las Vegas. Quickly to your Joe Milton point.
Vegas is 6th. Vegas is 6th, one spot behind the Jags.
To your Joe Milton point, I remember the Under Armour camp in Orlando, where people don't realize Joe Milton was from the Orlando area, the Central Florida area. He originally committed to Michigan before he went to Tennessee. I remember watching this kid, and all I knew was his name. I didn't know anything about him. He stood at the 20-yard line at a high school football field in Orlando and threw it basically to the opposing end zone. It was like 75, 80 yards in the air. And I'm like, who in the heck is this guy? And I'm like, oh, that's Joe Milton. Oh, and now here we are 7, 8 years later, and the legend of Joe Milton grows. It's interesting that he gets traded to Dallas. Jerry Jones doesn't normally do that a lot, but in this instance, he did.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. And Dak Prescott's had obviously trouble staying healthy, so we'll see. Dallas to me just seems like just a total disaster. Like it just seems like they don't really have any direction. They don't really know where they want to go. They do a miserable job of treating their star players the way I think they've proven they should be treated. So that one to me feels like that's an organization that is plummeting. I think.
Well, they completely got passed by Washington.
With each passing year, correct.
Yeah, completely got passed by the Commanders. Obviously, Philadelphia owns that division. Luckily for them, the Giants are a train wreck as well.
Yeah.
So you got two what looks like train wrecks and two really good teams in that division.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get it to the Jaguars because something occurred after we went off the air yesterday that I thought was really interesting. Have you gotten a chance to see the preview for The Hunt that will air tonight at 7 that Jaguars Digital put together?
I'm fired up about it. I mentioned it on Hacker After Dark last night because I got to see the trailer after this show and before my show. And to Candace, PCAB, all the boys at Jaguars.com do such a great job with that, and I'll be locked in at 7 o'clock tonight.
Absolutely. Well, the trailer I thought was pretty interesting in terms of it's about 2 minutes long. If you haven't seen it, you can go to the Jaguar social channels and check it out. I would encourage you to do so because, to your point, I think it'll get you fired up for 7 o'clock tonight. But the biggest thing to me was how they ended it with Executive Vice President of Football Operations Tony Baselli saying, kind of giving almost like a "this is where we are" kind of speech, but it's in a staff meeting. He's not doing this in front of fans or media. I mean, it's within the confines of the Miller Electric Center, and he says the end of it is we're starting from ground zero. He makes a little bit more of an emphasis in that.
There's a middle word
There's
between
a middle word.
ground and zero.
Correct.
Yes.
But
that added some oomph to it.
Yes, it did. But I thought that was really revealing in terms of where this organization is.
Well, I thought you made an excellent point, too. They wanted that out there. And not only is it going to be in the episode tonight, it was in the trailer previewing the episode. They did not have to put that in. They chose to put that in because obviously that's the narrative. And I think a lot of people are going to be talking about Baselli and that when they see it tonight. And if this is ground zero, as far as the organization, new coaching staff, new GM, new EVP of football operations, new, boy, there might be a lot of newness in what we should expect from this roster formation moving forward.
Absolutely. I mean, I think I'll give you an example. Like we've talked a lot about the offensive line this week and Walker Little. Well, a lot of the pushback is, well, they just paid Walker Little. Well, these guys didn't.
Yeah, they did not.
I mean, I don't think Tony Baselli and Liam Cohen and James Gladstone are going to allow Trent Baalke to decide who their starting left tackle is. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to allow a contract extension to dictate who the week one left tackle is. I don't believe that. Now, he may end up being the starter, but I don't think it's a guarantee. And again, we don't know that's what makes it such a great trailer. We don't know the context of how Tony, what the conversation in the room was when Tony Baselli says this, this ground zero comment. Maybe they were talking about a specific position and not necessarily the organization, the roster as a whole. So it really will be captivating to see exactly, because I'm assuming we're going to get a little bit more of that scene tonight in the hunt. But boy, I thought that really shined a light on buckle up. Because whatever we think we might know about where they want to take this thing, we may have no idea what they're doing in terms of the fifth pick and beyond. I mean, I think you can rule out quarterback at 5. Other than that, I'm not sure anything can really be taken off the table if they're viewing it in totality of this is this is a rebuild. We're starting it from scratch, and anybody that thinks that we've got established guys here, they're going to have to prove it to us.
Here's why I'm looking forward to the hunt. They made Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson look interesting last year. I mean, they actually made those two guys. Trent Baalke was like a wet paper towel, right? The guy had like no personality whatsoever. They made him look interesting in the hunt last year. So now you get Liam Cohen and James Gladstone and Tony Baselli. I can't wait for it. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be the 4-part series, obviously, that it normally is. And when you talk about, the roster and everything that's gone on, it is a new era. It is a new blood, new regime, whatever you want to call it. And again, 10 outside free agents. They haven't re-signed anybody. We talked earlier this week, Hays, all the Mason Graham at 5. Mason Graham. Well, now you're starting to hear other names. And I'll tell you a name that's been prevalent, at least in fan circles on social media in the last couple of days, is Jalen Walker from Georgia. And truthfully, I hadn't thought much about him up until about the last 48 hours. That name is beginning to pick up steam. And now all of a sudden you hear Todd McShay. Todd McShay, pretty respected guy in the industry, say, wait a minute. All this Mason Graham at 5 to Jacksonville, why not Jalen Walker? And now that got my attention. So I went and watched what Todd McShay had to say, and he made a compelling argument why Jalen Walker might even be a better selection than Mason Graham for the Jaguars.
And a lot of that was Jalen Walker is viewed as one of the most complete people in this draft, not just a exquisite prospect, but an unbelievable leader.
So what does he have? He has intangibles.
That's right.
Yeah.
He might fit in well in this ecosystem.
In the ecosystem. He's intangibly rich, as James Gladstone likes to say.
The connective tissue that that Jalen Walker has, could be a real asset for the Jaguars here.
But I do think, Gladstone practices what he preaches, raise the floor of the roster. They did that. How many times have we heard intangibles? Well, if you want to look up intangibles in the 2025 NFL Draft Prospect Dictionary, a picture of Jalen Walker might be there. So I would absolutely not rule that out at number 5.
Yeah, and again, this also takes us back to a point on Trayvon Walker, which is, would it surprise you at all if Baselli, who's watched him every game that he's played for his first 3 years here, if his advice to Gladstone and Cohen isn't, hey, this guy needs to play inside way more than what he's ever done here. I mean, he is an edge player, but when you get in those obvious passing situations, he needs to play inside. And McShay brought that up as well with Jalen Walker is, yes, you're adding a guy at 5 that maybe doesn't, quote, start, but in the most pivotal downs, when you've got to get off the field, it would be Hines Allen and Walker on the outside and Trayvon Walker on the inside.
You know, for people that say, well, you got to fill this position and that position, I agree with you. The Jaguars have a lot of needs that need to be filled across the roster at various, O-line, corner, secondary. We've gone over them. The Jaguars, to me, Hayes, are not a player or two away. You need to make the roster better, right? They're not a right guard away from winning the Super Bowl, or they're not a cornerback number 2 away from winning the AFC Championship. In theory, you'd love for them to catch lightning in a bottle and things happen and go their way and a bounce here and a bounce there. I'm not saying it's impossible, but on the surface, they're at least several players away from doing that. And because you're several players away from doing that, in my opinion, you're not locked into one singular position. Go out there at number 5 and number 36 and get me the best players on your board regardless of position. Now, let's not get crazy, as you said. They're not going to take Shedeur Sanders at 5. I'm not saying that. But within reason, and quarterback is not within reason, just simply draft the best players you have on your board at that time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they'll take Ashton Genty, but I could understand why they might if they feel like, Tom Coughlin used to cite this data. When he took Fournette, my guess is the number probably still holds because we've had so few running backs get taken high in the draft. I mean, Bijan, and I don't know if Atlanta certainly didn't get worse with Bijan, but it was like teams on average went up like 4 wins a year when they took a running back high in the first round. Now, again, football, it certainly changed, but now it might be cycling back to that running game being more pivotal. And we obviously know what Liam Cohen did last year with the Bucs ground game, going from worst to third in the league. Again, I'm not saying they should take Ashton Genty at 5. I'm not saying I think that's what they will do. But my point is, I don't think you can, other than quarterback, I'm not sure there's another position where like the value would line up. I mean, they're not taking a safety at 5, right? Because there's no safety that anybody believes is a top 5 player in this draft. But if it's a player whose overall talent is in that, top 10 range, I absolutely think they're in play.
I would be surprised with Genty, but to your point, you look at the resurgence of running back last year. What did we hear for the last couple of years? Oh, you can take a running back in the mid-rounds. You can find a running back. Well, look at the best teams last year. Look at Saquon Barkley in Philadelphia. Look at Derrick Henry in Baltimore. Look at, Josh Jacobs in Green Bay, Joe Mixon in Houston, all these free agent running backs that are veterans in this league, but established veterans that go in there and completely change what's going on that given offense. The running back made a resurgence last year, and I don't think they're going to draft Ashton Genty, but as you and I discussed earlier in the week, man, Travis Etienne's days here may be numbered. Bigsby's coming up with only 2 years left on his rookie deal, and other than Keelan Robinson, they don't have anybody else on the roster. So, again, these are all Trent Baalke guys. James Gladstone and Liam Cohen are not tied to any of these guys, with the exception of Trevor, but that's fine. They want to be tied to him.
Right.
Aside from Trevor, they're not tied to any of these guys, so don't be surprised by very much.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, the hunt tonight comes out at 7. I would encourage you to check it out. It looks like it's going to be absolutely riveting, 30 minutes of Jaguars behind-the-scenes football. When we come back, we're going to get it to the You getting fired up for the Masters?
I do.
This time next week, we're going to be almost done with the first round.
When you said it yesterday and you said a week from tomorrow they're going to be doing the honorary tee shot, to me, that's one of the best moments in sports all year.
Absolutely.
When Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player and the fellas go out there to do that, Tom Watson, I believe, is the other one. Great moment. And, man, it's a week away from Augusta National. Yeah, I am getting pretty excited.
I am too. Well, we're going to talk to our golf expert, Lee Smith, the executive director of the Players Championship. Will join us next. You're listening to The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Go full throttle for a photo finish.
Look at this! Whoa!
Sunday at Darlington.
Checkered flag is out.
Powered by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234 and 1010XL.
Tired of supermarket produce that's traveled thousands of miles before you get it? Treat your family to farm fresh, Florida-grown fruits and veggies delivered right to your home with Doorbell Farms. No supply chain issues or questionable origins, just seasonal produce handpicked from local farmers. Subscribe monthly and enjoy the best local farm produce delivered right to you. Sign up now at doorbellfarms.com, connecting real people to real family farms. Doorbellfarms.com.
This is Hays Carlyon from my friend Holt at Harold and Harold. There doesn't seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. Then you get injured in an accident and you don't know what you're going to do. Let Harold and Harold make it easy for you. Easy on becoming a client. You can just text or email if you want. Easy on finding a doctor and getting through the process. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold and Harold and make it easy on yourself. Call them at 904-251-1111. That's 251-1111.
Jacksonville, get ready to spice up your night at One Night Taco Stand. Every Taco Tuesday, enjoy their mouth-watering tacos for just $2.99 and get your weekend started with 2-for-1 house margaritas. Find fresh Mexican street food, stiff drinks, and fun vibes at One Night Taco Stand with 3 Jacksonville locations in Mandarin, Orange Park, and Southside at Bay Meadows.
Your Jacksonville Sharks are back and ready to take the field for the 15th anniversary season. The Drive for 5 starts Sunday, April 6th as your Sharks take on the Las Vegas Nighthawks. Ask about special ticket pricing for all you sports teams at jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. 904-621-0700.
Go Sharks!
Prosser here. Sharks football is back. Come celebrate the 15th anniversary season this Sunday, April 6th, as the Sharks take on the Las Vegas Nighthawks in their home opener at the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. Already 1-0, the Sharks look to crush Vegas on Pirates and Princesses Night. Have some family fun and break out your best pirate hat or tiara.
We're not but humble pirates.
For tickets and special pricing for youth sports teams, go to jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. That's jacksharks.com or 621-0700.
The road to the playoffs is paved by a strong off-season.
That is the game within the game.
Navigate the way with AA Automotive at 1010XL.
That's a beautiful thing.
AA Automotive on Richard Street. Family run since 1954.
North Florida is growing with lots of new families joining our community. If you're one of them making the move here, your next move should be a call to American Electrical to create the best home automation system, enhancing your living experience. There are many ways your life can be made easier through smart home technology, voice-activated systems, automated lighting, total house temperature control. With American Electrical, they've got everything you need to automate your home and make it your true oasis. Check out American-Electrical.com. Powered by professionalism and raising the excellence bar.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web. Precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
Living on Amelia Island, having fun in Bernadita Beach? No matter what brings you to the fun, cozy town, make sure you check out the tap room at Mokama Beer Company. with a full flight of craft creations, from the Cosmico IPA to the Motor, the perfect Pilsners and lagers. Matching memories and some Mocama magic is what it's all about. Mocama Beer Company in Fernandina Beach, near the big water where the sun is born. And look for more Mocama craft at your local Total Wine or ABC Liquors.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey man, what's that noise?
Do you hear it too? You can hear it, right?
Yeah, it's your air conditioner. It's like a grinding or a rattling.
And it's getting on your nerves, right? Like it's eating at your brain and you can't think straight? But it just keeps grinding and squeaking and taunting and nagging. You're not good enough. You're a failure. Why can't you be more like your sister, the lawyer?
Yeah, I don't hear that last part so much.
Yeah, but it's not cool, right, Jason?
It could definitely be cooler. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we can totally repair whatever that noise is and get your AC working smoothly and silently. We fix these things all the time.
So I won't be a failure?
Life should be enjoyed. If some irritating, broken air conditioner is making you crazy, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
All right, welcome back to The Frangie Show. We've got Hacker, we've got JJ. I'm Hays Carlyon, and we are pleased to be joined with Players Championship Executive Director Lee Smith. Lee, how are you doing?
Doing great, Hays. How are you?
We are doing fantastic. We're excited for what should be a fantastic Masters, and the Texas Open is going on right now as well, and we'll get your thoughts on that as we move along here. But kind of upon reflection, looking at the Houston Open last week, Minwoo Lee gets the win, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on him. But before we get to Lee and his triumph, boy, Scotty Scheffler 19 under, Rory McIlroy 15 under. You have to love the way those two are playing as we get closer to Augusta National.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Rory is a star of stars, and having won the signature event at Pebble, and then, certainly winning the Players Championship on Monday, and then a good performance there. He's trending as well as he possibly can. I think he, that little right elbow injury or something that he indicated, I think that's just taking some pressure off himself. Playing as well as he is, certainly one of the favorites. And then to see Scotty continuing to trend the way he is, playing at the highest level, heading into to a place that he's won twice next week, I think, just bodes well as to have the two favorites playing as well as they are.
Lee, the situation with Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy, kind of the two guys on the tour right now, both doing a terrific job. What is the key to sustained success? How are they able to do this seemingly week in and week out?
Well, I'll tell you, I think they do it in different ways. Certainly, typically, Rory's been somebody that has dominated the golf course with his length. Taking advantage of par fives, those types of things. I think it was great to see him, win the Players Championship and certainly do it. And he even referenced it that he kind of did it in a different way here. He didn't overpower a golf course, which is something that, TPC Sawgrass stands for, is that, it doesn't favor anybody in particular. But he didn't drive it well the week that he won it at the Players Championship. And so doing it a little bit different way. Scotty, on the other hand, is just not deficient in any place in his game when he's playing well. And I think it was one or two of the days at the Houston Open that he was the best putter in the field, or at least maybe Saturday. when he shot 62 and tied the course record. So I think the sustained see, I can't even say it, sustained success, comes from the fact that they don't have any deficiencies. And when both of them get the ball rolling a little bit on the greens and just putt above average, you feel like they're going to be on the leaderboard or certainly at the top.
In terms of Minwoo Lee, this young man has really had a nice year. Got off to a great start at the Players' Championship, 67-66 the first two rounds before a difficult third round Saturday, 78 kind of took him out of it, but still T20. He's obviously coming off a win at the Houston Open where he was 20 under. Do you get a sense that his game translates well to a performance at the Masters, that maybe we'll see him in contention? Because isn't there some correlation in terms of courses between Stadium Course, Houston Open, and Augusta National?
Yeah, I think Minwoo is a star that just continues to get brighter and brighter. Certainly, stars are able to perform and they need to win, but the personality with which he does it, the connection with the fans, and then the fact that, he can create a ball speed north of 190 miles per hour is just one of those things that is attractive. He's fun to watch. He's got more nicknames than he knows what to do with. Obviously, TGL was another thing that shone bright for him. And yeah, I think, anybody that can drive the ball, long and straight, it certainly is going to be attractive at Augusta, and being able to certainly move it both ways. So, I can only imagine that if the game that he had at Houston, he's able to, and I'll say maybe the game that he had for 68 holes at Houston is the game that he needs to take at Augusta. It was certainly must-watch TV, those last 3 or 4 holes, as he was kind of white-knuckling the steering wheel, bringing it in, hitting one in the water and those types of things. But, that's what makes it attractive, and he even said it afterwards. Winning on the PGA Tours is hard. And whether it's your first 4 holes and then you play the last 68 well, or you're struggling the last 4, he was able to bring it in and win a key event, his first win on the PGA Tour, which I can only imagine just opens the door for more.
Lee Smith, the executive director of the Players, with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. All right, Lee, a week from today, as a matter of fact, they'll probably be finishing up round number 1 at Augusta. Love this time of year with the Masters, the ceremonial tee shots, one of the best moments to me in all of sports. Next Thursday morning when Jack and with Gary and I guess Tom Watson get out there, it's absolutely sensational. Now the LIV guys come back in. It's the first time in, 8 months, right? One of the majors since we've had the last major that the LIV guys come back in. How is that dynamic now? Is it what it was in years past, or will that be a non-story next week at Augusta?
Yeah, I think there's a dozen of the LIV guys playing. Certainly some are returning because they've won the golf tournament. Like Phil and Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed. Others are returning like Bryson and Joaquin Neiman because they still have qualified based on major championship wins or top rankings in the world. I don't think the separation is going to be as much of a story as it used to be, maybe, Hack. I do think that, maybe only playing 14 times and maybe playing a little bit more in, free and exhibition golf, and maybe just not as competitively cutthroat will always be a story if they don't perform well. But at the same time, playing this week at Doral, a PGA Tour golf course, sharpening those competition edges. It'll be interesting to see how, everybody, I think we talked about it last week, everybody, kind of prepares for a major championship differently. Some like to play their way in. Some like to take a week off and practice. So it'll be interesting to see how, how success travels with folks like a Colin Morikawa as an example, not playing this week, or Rory not playing this week. How having some success and then that travels into Augusta. But no, I don't think on the golf course in between the ropes it's going to be much of a story.
Obviously, we're all biased because we're all PGA Tour guys, but it is striking to me, Lee, how electric talents like Jon Rahm and Brooks Koepka and, to a lesser extent, Bryson DeChambeau, although he is the reigning U.S. Open champion. But it's amazing to me. Dustin Johnson's a good example. Guys that should still be talked about all the time in the world of golf. I mean, their star should be as bright as any in the sports galaxy, but it's like they go to that place and they disappear. I mean, Cam Smith looked like he was on his way to becoming this golf superstar. And I'm not on the inside of the industry like you are, but it just seems to me that their star power has just totally fallen off the planet to me.
Well, and I don't disagree. Certainly, we just don't get a chance to watch them anymore, Hays. And whether it's skills that have diminished, which I think they probably, I would hope that they continue to work as hard as they have before. But I think one of the issues is we just don't get to see them. The TV numbers aren't what they are. Where they're at on TV is just a little bit different. It'll be interesting to see. This is their first domestic event down at Trump Doral, and being on Fox on the weekend. I think their final round is in the 1 to 5 hour on Sunday. So it'll be interesting to be able to see them in a similar light to where we can watch a Valero Texas Open, and to see them compete back at the level on TV, on cable, those types of things. I would hope again that skills haven't diminished and they can still compete, but sometimes, golf does that to somebody, whether it's, just timing, no matter where they played, or, that they're playing just in a totally different format with a team game. It'll be interesting to see. And I think that's what's great about next week is we're going to get to see everybody together.
Lee, I want to circle back to Rory for 1 second. He's got a PGA, he's got a U.S. Open, he's got an Open Championship, obviously a couple of players now. The one missing from the mantle is the Masters. The Rory McIlroy story, the legacy in golf. Does he need that green jacket to, become one of the guys, if you will, that we're talking about 20, 30 years down the road, or has he already accomplished that?
I think for the most part he's already a Hall of Famer whenever that happens. I mean, I think he's already a superstar in the game of golf. But I think I was reading an article today, which I tended to agree with. Him closing out the Grand Slam, the career Grand Slam, I think easily puts him as the golf's largest superstar since Tiger Woods. And that's probably a big statement, but, being able to close that out and have 2 Players Championships on your resume as well, I think, it just shoots him well above everybody else in the post-Tiger Woods era. So I do think it means something. I think, there's not many players that have completed that career Grand Slam, which is a big nod and a big add to the resume. So, I think he's already accomplished, Hall of Fame level and those types of things. But I think winning the Masters and closing that career Grand Slam certainly, takes him up one more notch, especially over the last 15 to 20 years.
Last one for you, Lee, and we appreciate your time. In terms of the Texas Open going on right now, a couple notable names. Keith Mitchell is leading at 8 under, but right below him, Brian Harman, who we just saw win a British Open a couple years ago, is at 6 under. His round is complete. He shot a 66 today. And Tommy Fleetwood, 4 under, 68. Do you like those 2 guys next week at the Masters in terms of guys that have the game to compete? And if not, is there an off-the-radar guy maybe outside of the superstars that you think might make a run at this thing?
Yeah, I think certainly. If you go in there playing well, I think we've seen the success of some of the left-handers at Augusta with Mike Weir and Bubba Watson, Phil Mickelson. So certainly being a left-hander there and being able to shape fades around some of the draw corners for a right-hander is can be an advantage. Tommy Fleetwood historically has had some success there. So him playing well and having some confidence going in there, I think is great. I think you go another stroke down and you see Tony Finau there at 3 under.
That's right.
He's a guy that, remember, I think he was the last group with Tiger in 19. So him having some success there previously, I think if he's got some confidence. So, again, I think it goes back to some of those guys that either are trying to play their way in, that are playing this week, or that are just trying to keep those competitive juices flowing. Yeah, I think Harmon, Fleetwood, and Finau having some confidence going in there could bode well for them next week.
And I know you're a college basketball guru. I know you go to the Final Four all the time. Give us a quick Final Four thought. Who do you like Saturday night, and who do you think cuts down the nets Monday?
I'll tell you, I hate to be the homer just for that reason, but my history of watching basketball, well-rounded teams, I think are fantastic, certainly. Guard play and having that one go-to guy, but what Clayton did, to close out that tough game. I think you go through 6 games, inevitably you're going to have one that looks poor, in the last 10 minutes or in the last 5 minutes, but you're able to pull it off. I got to take Florida. I really think well-rounded size, depth, and then having more than one person in the backcourt to be able to rely on. I think they're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah. Great stuff, Lee. We appreciate it. Are you going to San Antonio for the Final Four?
I'm flying out tomorrow, 7 o'clock.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, Frank, I know he's on vacation, but we were texting last when Florida won, and then now he's gone radio silent. Hopefully we'll be able to connect down there. Yeah,
I'm sure he'll be over there, so I'm sure you guys will have a good time meeting up. But Lee, have a great time. Thank you so much, and we'll look forward to talking with you next week when the Masters will be in full swing.
You got it. Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
All right, that's Lee Smith. Sure thing. Lee Smith, Executive Director of the Players Championship. What a fantastic golf analyst he is for us. And,
no question.
Boy, it's going to the Masters, that is going to be sensational next week.
I'm excited about it, no doubt about it. It starts next Thursday. Like we said, that ceremonial tee shot gets it underway, and that kind of gives you goosebumps as a sports fan, no doubt about it. I'll tell you who's got goosebumps right now. Did you see this story that Adam Schefter just had 2 minutes ago? The highest paid tight end in NFL history is now Trey McBride of the Arizona Cardinals. 4 years, $76 million, $43 million guaranteed, $19 million per year. Trey McBride's a really good player. But if you want to go win a cold beer from your buddy at the water cooler tonight, ask him who the highest paid tight end is in NFL history. Because not a chance somebody will say Trey McBride unless they see this story.
Without a doubt. He had that amazing year last year, but so odd in that he had, over 100 receptions and didn't score until the final week of the season or something. It was
fantasy football player's worst nightmare.
Absolutely. But again, that probably means he'll regress to the mean, and this year he'll probably have 7 or 8 touchdown catches for you. But anyway, that was great stuff from Lee Smith. That's cool that he's heading to the Final Four as well. And keep that personal tradition going for him. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Final Four. Jay Billis had something really interesting that he wrote for ESPN.com about this Final Four and the Florida Gators. We'll share that with you and give you our thoughts on it. You're listening to The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with The Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
My think tank now has a little something in the pipeline. It's an idea we like to call
1010XL.
Frank Frangie here. Nimnik Chevrolet is proud to be an 8-time Chevrolet Dealer of the Year recipient, the only dealership in Northeast Florida to ever win this prestigious award. earned by treating customers with courtesy, respect, and fairness, all part of Nimnick's Treating You Right guarantee. Visit nimnickchevy.com to learn more. For 3 generations, Nimnick has been the place customers keep coming back to. I've been buying my vehicles from Nimnick since 1982 because they care about their customers and are invested in our local community, including supporting walk-off charities, and all we're trying to do to help underprivileged kids learn to play baseball. Treating you right, giving back to the community, more choices and better prices for you. So who has put the most years and stands behind a better experience? The answer is simple. Nobody but Nimnick. Visit their showroom off Cassett Avenue or shop 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com. Head to Nimnick today. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
At Diamonds Direct, we believe luxury is an experience and not a price tag. Luxury is expert guidance. It's the selection of 10 jewelry stores under one roof. It's saving time on endless comparison shopping, and you'll only find this experience at Diamonds Direct. Our luxury showroom has it all backed by our lifetime warranties and our signature best price guarantee. Diamonds Direct is the perfect combination of luxury and value, so you don't ever have to compromise. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Hi folks, I'm Frank Frangie. If you have a sweet tooth like me, the sweetest desserts in town come from Spoonful Bakery. Spoonful is an online bakery. They deliver boxes of assorted desserts right to your home or office. They're so good, and they make for great gifts for friends or clients. And if you want custom orders, wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or catered desserts for an event, they are the best. Log on to spoonful-bakery.com or call them at 904-515-4984. That's Spoonful Bakery for the sweetest desserts in town.
It's time to elevate your game night. Head to Best Bet, your premier destination for poker, card games, and hospitality. With locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine, we have a seat ready for you. Whether you're a seasoned poker player or just starting out, we have you covered with poker games of all limits and easy-to-learn games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em. And it's not just poker. With delicious dining, lively bars, and big screen events, there's something for everyone at Best Bet. Visit bestbetjacks.com to learn more. That's bestbetjacks.com and ante up for fun.
A hardworking student athlete deserves recognition.
Catch the Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Scholar Athlete of the Week. Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234. Wednesdays on The Frangie Show.
On 1010XL.
Mia here, and let me tell you about one of our area's best resorts, the Sawgrass Marriott Golf Resort and Spa. The Sawgrass Marriott is not only a great destination for a vacation, but it is also a great destination for dining on the Florida's first coast. 1912 Ocean Bar and Rooftop is now open on Ponte Vedra Boulevard, featuring Ponte Vedra's only oceanfront rooftop bar and lounge. Serving finely crafted cocktails and delectable eats, it's open daily from 4 to 10 with complimentary valet parking.
I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is more than just a legal process. It's a life-changing event that can impact your future, finances, and your relationship with your children. You've worked hard to build a life that you're proud of, and you deserve a legal partner who will work just as hard to protect it.
Offices in Jacksonville. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's attorneys. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Rick Julius, licensed in Pennsylvania only. Online at CordellCordell.com.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees, about $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 15th.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text ORDER to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text ORDER to 42424. That's order to 42424.
Hi, I'm Karen, owner of Clay Solar Installation Partners, your local woman-owned solar company. Did you hear? JEA is raising rates again. With summer right around the corner, those power bills are only going to go up. But with solar, you can take control of energy costs and say goodbye to rising rates. At Clay Solar, we make switching easy and affordable. Stop paying more for power and own it. Visit claysolar.com to schedule a consultation today.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
Who is this?
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Ah, how about that? What's the name of this song?
Rock That.
Rock That. All right. I like it. It's peppy. I like it. What do you think, Hacker? It's peppy.
It really does it for me.
Yeah. All right. Good.
It's an interesting name of a song, too.
Absolutely. We're going to talk Final Four here with the Gators. I appreciate Lee Smith joining us, and he likes the Gators to win it all. I will say this. Obviously, it's an incredibly even matchup, Florida-Auburn. Auburn won the regular season SEC title. Florida won the SEC tournament. They played once. Florida won at Auburn. The numbers are almost freakishly identical in terms of scoring offense, scoring defense, field goal percentage defense. Really the only things that they are greatly different in. Florida's better as a rebounding team. They're plus 8.6. Auburn's plus 4.2 a game. But turnovers, Auburn is, I would say, considerably better, particularly when you consider how much Florida has struggled lately with that. Florida is a positive, but just 0.8 turnover margin. Auburn is positive 1.8. So you would expect Florida to win the glass, Auburn to win the turnover battle, and we'll see which of those two things. Because everything else, if they play to what they normally do, everything else is pretty much even. But before we get too far into that game, just to reflect on what an incredible March Florida had. They were undefeated, 10-0, and these were the 10 games. They beat Texas A&M at home, who ended up being a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. They won at Alabama, a 2 seed. They beat Ole Miss at home, a 6 seed. They then go to the SEC tournament. So these are all neutral now environments for the rest of this winning streak. They beat Missouri, who's a 6 seed. Alabama, again, a 2 seed. Tennessee, a 2 seed. Norfolk State, the MEAC champ, 16 seed. UConn, the 2-time defending champion, 8 seed. Maryland, a 4 seed. And Texas Tech, a 3 seed.
Yeah.
What an unbelievable run. I don't think you'll ever see a Florida basketball team match that. As long we could live to be 400 years old, and I don't think you'll ever see Florida basketball have that kind of a march again.
You know, I remember, I think it was a Tuesday night when Florida lost in Athens to Mike White. Remember, they were down 26,
right,
and they came all the way back. Actually took a 2-point lead, and then Georgia just ripped their heart out at the end.
Yeah, Blue Cane hit the 3.
Yeah, he hit the 3, and it sucked at the time because not only did you lose to Georgia, but you lost to Mike White for the first time. And the trendy thing for fans to say, and some members of the media, quite frankly, is, you know what, this loss will be good. This loss will center them. This loss will make them reevaluate things. And you say that to make yourself feel better. But no, that loss sucked. I mean, let's just be honest. That loss was brutal. I wish Florida would have just not come back, right? Because you take the lead with 90 seconds to go, and then you still lose, and it was just brutal. But the coping mechanism of saying this loss will be good in the long run, well, in this instance, it was exactly right. Because they haven't lost since. I believe that Texas A&M game was literally the next game after Georgia. They've rattled off those 10 wins in a row after that loss at Stegman Coliseum. So, yeah, not only was that Georgia loss maybe a blessing in disguise, but it has propelled Florida now to where they're at. And look, have they played great in the last week and a half? No, they did not play well against UConn by their standards. They did not play well against Texas Tech by their standards. That's why, to me, if I'm picking it right now, I'm picking Auburn. I still have, rest of today and tomorrow to maybe change my mind, but I'm going to pick Auburn, I think. But as I told you yesterday, Hayes, man, if this Florida team plays like they did in Nashville in the SEC tournament, they not only can beat Auburn, they can absolutely beat the winner of Duke and Houston. In Nashville, Florida was the best team in college basketball. They have not been in the last week and a half despite the wins. Find what you had in Nashville, and you'll be cutting down the nets. Play like you did against Texas Tech and UConn, and you're probably going home on Saturday night.
I would agree. Jay Billis, who obviously is one of the most recognizable analysts in the sport, he wrote a really good Final Four preview on each school, but we're not going to go through Duke and Houston and Auburn, but I'll give you a little bit of what he wrote about Florida. And Billis has a separating factor for each of these four clubs. So for Florida, his separating factor is offensive rebounding and turnovers. He writes, Florida is the best offensive rebounding team of this Final Four, corralling 39% of its misses for high percentage second chance opportunities, including kick out 3-point shots. The biggest flaw, the Gators have a tendency to turn it over a bit more than the other three number one seeds, ranking fourth among these teams in turnover percentage. If Florida takes care of the ball and gets a shot down every time, the Gators' efficiency shoots way up.
Yeah, look, I agree. That first half against Maryland, that was Keystone Cops. I mean, that was ridiculous. He had 13 turnovers against Maryland. It was just mind-boggling, and the turnovers didn't get a lot better, at least in the first 30, 35 minutes against Texas Tech. It's just like they're sloppy. They're sloppy with the ball, and I don't know why that is, but yet in crunch time, they're unbelievably efficient. Here's an idea. Channel what you did in the last 3 minutes against Texas Tech, and let's begin that way against Auburn so you don't have to scramble in that fashion again.
Without a doubt. And then Billis has a one player to watch for each of these teams. And by this point, he's already talked a lot about Walter Clayton. So it's one player to watch, but I think what he's really looking for is like the X factor, not necessarily the best player on each team, because we know that would be Walter Clayton Jr. But Billis's one player to watch for Florida is Will Richard. And he writes, the transfer guard from Belmont is an outstanding rebounder, perimeter shooter, and help defender. With Clayton drawing so much attention, Richard can be a difference maker.
No, I agree. We have not seen the best of Will Richard in the NCAA tournament. I think he is absolutely one. I'd give you a 1A, and that's Alex Condon. If Alex Condon's healthy, it wasn't that long ago people thought Alex Condon was going to be a first-round pick in the NBA draft. And then he had the ankle issue at Mississippi State. Now, he came back and played well after that, but hasn't been great in the last, couple of weeks. I think Will Richard and Alex Condon have not played their best ball. If you get those guys playing the way they're capable of, next to Walter Clayton, Elijah Martin, Thomas Houck, then again, Florida can absolutely win the national championship. Will Richard and Alex Condon, two of the biggest X factors for the Gators.
I think it is Condon is the player to watch, the X factor. If Condon plays the way he's been playing, can they still win 2 games in San Antonio? Yeah, but I think a lot of things have to go right. Mm-hmm. If Condon gets back to being that double-double guy, and he doesn't need to score 20 and grab 15 boards, but if Saturday night, if Alex Condon gives them 12 and 11, Florida will win. And that's Richard is interesting because Will Richard for me is he's a guy I watch a lot in the first 5 minutes of a Florida game, because if he does something good early, it normally translates to Will Richard having a pretty good game, which makes Florida incredibly difficult to beat. But sometimes Will Richard basically is invisible on the offensive end. And when that happens, it feels like it's hard for him to get in rhythm and give them the kind of presence that secondary scorer that when they have it, they're just lethal. So that's something like early in a game, I look for Will Richard and decisiveness, because in games that they've lost, you'll look and you'll be like, why is Will Richard taking one shot? Or why is Will Richard, maybe 0 for 4 and there's 5 minutes left in the game? When you look at why is the offense, bogged down on the rare occasion that it has. So I understand going with Will Richard, but for me, I think it's Alex Condon.
Your memories of the game in February, we know Klobuchar and Sam Alexis played. Both of them probably won't play this game. Micah Hanlockton and obviously Elijah Martin did not play in that game. We've talked a lot about Martin, but I'm curious your thoughts, not only him, but Handlocked, and how both of those guys now who were not in there in February, how that will affect things.
I think Handlockton's been amazing, considering the injury. The stats are not incredible, but he is, about as good a glue guy. You had Will You Get on your show last night or earlier this week. Handlockton to me has really embraced that. He dives for loose balls. He's does a great job of affecting plays around the basket. He had a couple big tip-ins. You're not going to run your offense through him at any point, but he can give you a couple of baskets just on putbacks or wide open dunks. If his man goes to help. And but the toughness that I think he brings, and he brings you 5 fouls.
Yeah.
So his presence allows Chinlilu, Hauk, Condon to play with a little bit more aggressiveness, because it's hard to get that Florida front court into severe foul trouble, because Handlockton, a lot of big, like Sam Alexis had some good moments, but towards the end of that, he was a negative factor on the court for Florida. When he came in, you were just hoping it would be like a net zero with Sam Alexis, whereas Handlockton is a much better player than that. And then, I don't think we'll see Urban Klavzar. I wouldn't think, even though he hit a trio of threes in the win at Auburn. But Elijah Martin, obviously, what he brings as a defender, what he brings as a complimentary scorer to Clayton, I think he can play well. I like Florida to beat Auburn. But I do think it's going to come down to, like, Condon has to play back to his level. You just can't count, I think, on Hauk getting you like 20 and 12.
I agree.
You want his number to be somewhere, go get 9 points and 7 rebounds, dish out a couple of assists, hit a 3, something like that, block a shot. And so I think Hauk's done a magnificent job all season of lifting them up when Condon hasn't been in. But for Florida to really hit their stride and beat teams like in Auburn and the winner of Duke Houston, I think it's got to start there. It's going to be a lot of fun, and can't wait to see how it goes.
2 things, one with Handlockton, one with Elijah Martin. Handlockton, look, he'll get you 4 points, 3 rebounds, and a block, and you think, oh, okay, that doesn't tell you the story. He's the shot alterer, right? You think you got an easy layup or an easy, 5-6 footer, and there's a 7'1" Handlockton that's going to jump as high as he can and alter that shot. That doesn't show up in the stat line, but that's been enormous. The thing with Elijah Martin, and maybe I'm talking myself into picking Florida in this theory, in this thought anyway, he's been in a Final Four. How many players in this tournament or in this Final Four can say they've been there? No one can say that on Florida other than Elijah Martin. So on Saturday night, if they get down early or if things aren't going their way, I would have to imagine Todd Golden is going to rely on Elijah Martin to calm the guys down, because he is the one guy. Look, it's one thing to show out in the round of 64. It's one thing to show out in the Elite Eight. But, brother, this is it. This is the Final Four. This is the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. This is everybody watching you nationally, internationally. This is it. And that can be overwhelming to some guys. Having a guy like Elijah Martin, I think, is a very, very valuable resource, a guy that's been in this situation before.
Absolutely. Great point. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to do a little fun exercise with the Jaguars, peeking ahead to the schedule. We're about a month away from knowing the road that the Jaguars will face. I took a guess at it, and it kind of reveals some things that could be interesting in terms of this Jaguars season and its uniqueness. You're listening to The Frangie Show on 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
It's the stories that you tell. So much fun and imagination.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
I want to party with you, cowboy.
Mornings on 1010XL.
The two of us together? Forget it.
I'm Holt Harrell with Harrell & Harrell. Choosing a law firm after an accident is an important decision. So how do you decide? With so many messages on air, I know it can all sound the same. At Harrell & Harrell, we believe what sets us apart is our commitment to you. When you've been injured in an accident, you need help from someone you know, someone you can trust. Harrell & Harrell, a name you know, a name you trust. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Offices, Jacksonville.
Lots of jewelry stores in the town center, but only one is locally owned, Beard's Diamonds.
We're the only local jewelry store at the town center.
That's Jacksonville's John Lupo, owner of Beard's for over 4 decades.
We're entrenched in Jacksonville, Florida.
In a sea of mega chain jewelers, John says it's easy to stand out because he's not handcuffed by a corporate handbook.
I am not beholden to a corporate structure, so we've got flexibility to do whatever we can and want, and we do.
And that includes lowering prices to undercut them every day.
Quality for quality, color for color, everything the same. We should be able to beat them hands down by minimum 20%. We go overseas ourselves. We know exactly what we're buying. This isn't getting marked up in a corporate structure. We will beat anybody's price anywhere.
So before you buy anything at one of those chains, get a second opinion at locally owned Beard's Diamonds. No corporate atmosphere, no corporate rules, no corporate high markups.
We want you to come shop us and you'll see a lot better price here.
Beard's Diamonds.
Everybody gets a good deal at Beard's.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
It's kind of like his own private locker, and you're his guest.
Every time we talk, I'm reinvigorated by my love of the game.
Hays Carlyon here. Find my blog at 1010xl.com.
Hays Blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing, where quality and experience count.
The restaurant of the day is the Great Greek Mediterranean Grill. Get a Greek Feast family combo meal tray with chicken skewers, gyro meat, dolmades, and more. Feed 4 to 6 people for just $49.95. Feed 8 to 10 for just $99.95. The Great Greek Mediterranean Grill.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Mark Watson here to tell you a little bit about hardballcreative.com. It's your online promo haven with thousands of ideas on how to promote your company. We're open 24/7, 365.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold hard cash, so you can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, often no appraisals. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day, so act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. Get the money you need for anything at 904-999-1508 or just go to LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Jacksonville's summer heat is coming in fast. Is your AC ready to handle it? Or will it quit on you on the hottest day of the year, leaving you sweating and stuck with a huge repair bill? Duck Air Conditioning is here to save the day with a free AC system inspection. Our expert techs will make recommendations to ensure your AC system is running in tip-top shape before the heat arrives. Call now, 904-862-6769. Duck Air Conditioning, duckac.com. Any required repairs are not included in the inspection.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. All the attention around the Florida Gators right now is on their historic Final Four run, but in the shadows, the football team is in the thick of spring ball practice. The Gators' new quarterbacks coach, Ryan O'Hara, spoke about his journey to the position and how much he loves coaching quarterbacks.
It's what I love. That's my passion. It's my craft. And so to finally be recognized now as the quarterback coach, I take great pride in that. And there's nothing I want to do more than help these guys improve every day. Been working at it a long time. This is year 18. Coached high school, junior college, was a volunteer in Group of 5, coached FCS, now Power 5, and worked my way up. And I'm proud of my journey.
O'Hara now has full grasp of the reins of one of the most talented quarterbacks in the sport, DJ Lagway. It's 84 degrees at 5:06, time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
We certainly appreciate our friends at Stanley Pools. Welcome back to The Frangie Show. We've got Hacker, we've got JJ. Frank we do not have, but he will be back next week, hopefully enjoying his vacation. You said Skeen's got a big win yesterday, so that's good for Mr. Frangie. He probably got to see that in person, and now he'll head to San Antonio and see if his Gators can get it done. But
everybody in baseball's got to win, JJ, right? Except
I'm pretty sure.
Except one
right?
team.
Right.
I'm almost positive. It would be crazy to not have one after 7 games.
And to give up
right?
a bomb to Ohtani to end the game last night.
Yeah, how about up 2 in the 8th and not winning after you've lost 6 in a row? Yeah, the Braves are pretty terrible, pretty disastrous right now. And they have a day off. I've seen so many memes about the Braves losing on their day off, missing flights, 0-8. But yeah, luckily they have the Marlins this week.
That'll be an emotional opening day in Atlanta tomorrow at 0-7. And I don't even need to watch a Braves game. Just I got to follow JJ on social media, and I'll know instantly whether they won or lost.
Yeah, the worst part is having to stay up till like 1 in the morning to see them lose every single night.
Heart ripped out?
Exactly.
Yeah.
14 runs in 7 games, folks.
I think they still will be fine and win 95 games. But we'll see. I wanted to talk about the Jaguars schedule. Obviously, we're in draft mode, and I get that. But we're also, less than a month away, or probably about a month away, from the NFL releasing the schedule. And this is an interesting year for the Jaguars in that you've got road games at Las Vegas, at San Francisco, at Arizona, and at Denver, in addition to your game in London at Wembley Stadium. So what I would do if I was the Jaguars, I would request the league to schedule an early season back-to-back West Coast trip where if I'm Liam Cohen, the team can just stay out there. They did this in 2013. They played the Raiders. That was when the Raiders were in Oakland, and then they went to Seattle for it. That was weeks 2 and 3, and they stayed out there. I think it makes even more sense now because, A, you don't want to have to go to London and take 4 separate flights across the country. That's obviously the first thing. But the other thing, with the way the preseason has been reduced and you're only playing 3 of these games now as opposed to 4, you really get a pretty good break between that final preseason game and week 1. And so I think for Liam Cohen, it's like I would request it with the league because you go through training camp and obviously that's grueling and you have your preseason. But then everybody's going to get a chance to relax and take a breath, much more so when as opposed to in 2013 when you basically went straight from the preseason into a regular season week. But I think it's important for the Jaguars to do it. And so in putting together my guess for the schedule, and again, this is just silly. And again, this is not the Jaguars schedule. So I do not want you to worry. This is just me guessing. We obviously know the opponents. We just don't know the order. And so looking at it, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but what I would do if I was the Jaguars is I would request the league to put me on the road back-to-back early in the season, away from the London trip, and you don't want to be doing it in the latter stages of the season. You don't want to be doing this in week 16 and 17 when ideally you're getting ready to make a run towards the playoffs, particularly in a very winnable division. So, Hack, I've got it. The Jaguars opening at Las Vegas. My reasoning for that is the league likes to do a couple of things. For one, normally they put bad teams against bad teams. And in this matchup, you've got that. Neither one of these teams did much last year. They also both have new head coaches. The league probably would like the dynamic of Pete Carroll, the oldest coach in the league, the history of the league, going up against a young coach in Liam Cohen. And the Jaguars played at Vegas last year right before Christmas. So you probably are wanting to have that game be more early in the season because obviously Jaguar fans that win at Christmas, different time of the year to go out to Vegas in September. So I've got the Jaguars going to Las Vegas week 1, then staying out west and playing at San Francisco in week 2. But at least you've eliminated 2 of those trips right out of the gate. And then just to quickly go through this, a lot of this was historical trends in terms of when the divisional games are, and then kind of taking what they did last year with the AFC South games and just changing the opponents. But I kept the weeks basically the same because traditionally that's what they are. So I've got, after Vegas and San Fran on the road, I've got the home opener week 3 against Kansas City. I put all this out on Twitter if you're curious to keep up with it, if it's easier for you to see it. Home opener week 3 against Kansas City. Week 4, first divisional game at home against the Colts. Week 5 going to the Titans. Then week 6 going to London. I've got them playing Carolina. We don't know that. I mean, obviously they'll announce that at a later date. They don't announce that as early as they used to. But Carolina makes sense to me. So I don't think that's a home gate here. The Jaguars would be overly upset to lose. I don't think it's a opponent they would protect. And I think the divisional opponents are they're tired of going over there for the road game. So I went with the Panthers. I do have the Jaguars having a bye after the London game, which they haven't been doing lately. But my guess, with it being Liam Cohen's first trip over there as a head coach, my guess is they will want the bye in week 7. I then have home against Seattle, at Arizona, home against the Jets, home against the Rams, at the Broncos, at the Colts, home against the Texans, at Cincinnati, home against the Chargers, at Houston, and then the finale at home against Tennessee. But forgetting that, let's just start with the first point, Hacker. Would you like to see this team stay on the West Coast and knock out 2 of those games as opposed to having to go to Vegas, San Francisco, Arizona, Denver, and the London game in separate trips?
Yeah, I remember when the international series was announced and only one game appeared to have the Jaguars in it. People were like, well, why aren't they playing 2? Like they have the last couple of years. Well, you just said it. They got to go to the West Coast 4 times. When you got to go to the West Coast 4 times, they're not going to make you stay in London for 2 weeks. I mean, the Jaguars, I would have to imagine, are going to have the most mileage of any team in the National Football League. I like your theory as far as playing 2 West Coast games back-to-back. I'm not so sure about it being week 1 and week 2. That, to me, would be interesting. I'm not sure if any team has ever done that. If it's week 3 and 4 or week 5 and 6, then I would be all for it. But if they were to go at West Coast team in a span of 7 days, I don't know about that. Your Carolina theory in London, I think, is spot on because, to me, the only games it could be of the home slate is Carolina or the Jets because you got West Coast teams coming over here, both L.A. teams and Seattle. They're not going to make the L.A. Rams, the L.A. Chargers, the Seattle Seahawks fly to London. It's already a 5.5, 6-hour flight to Jacksonville, and you're going to add 5. You're going to put them on a plane for 12 hours. I just can't imagine that. Shad Khan's going to fight to have the Kansas City game here for obvious reasons you would expect, and they're probably not going to move a division game over there. So to me, Hayes, I think you're spot on with either being Carolina or the New York Jets as that game over in London.
Yeah, and again, this is something to be mindful of, and we know they want to build a physical team because that's how they view, that's the shortest path to the Lombardi Trophy, is build a physical team on both sides of the ball. But I will say this, in year 1, that also travels well. Like, I'm not saying they're going to build their roster because of the road schedule in the 2025 season. I'm not suggesting that. But there is an added benefit to prioritizing the trenches because that travels. Toughness travels. The ability to win a street fight travels. And when you've got a first-year head coach and you've got to make all these long trips, again, this is very odd because they don't normally catch the NFC West and the AFC West in the same year. Those rotations work on different cycles. So it's unusual that they line up, but it does this year, and I do think it presents a challenge. So something to watch. Again, we're about a month away from the official schedule coming out. Again, I don't want to get people that tuned in mid-segment nervous or anything like that. The official schedule will not be out for about a month. This was just a fun exercise, but it does, I think, demonstrate the Jaguars really should lobby the league. And maybe the ideal probably would be like weeks 2 and 3. Maybe have your home opener in week 1 and then go on the road for weeks 2 and 3. It's just a question of will the league allow the specific requests for what they want to do, or they may say, look, we can grant this, but it's going to be where we can fit it in, and it might be weeks 1 and 2. And again, a lot of it too is where is the London game? If the London game isn't week 6, it's week 9, then you can probably do the West Coast trips week 4 and 5 and create a little bit of a gap between that trip, the London trip, and so forth. But it'll be really interesting to see the road that these Jaguars will travel once we do get the official schedule in May.
Well, and one thing I didn't like about last year in the 17-game schedule, playing 2 in London, you only had 7 home games in Jacksonville. You had 7 Jacksonville games, you had 2 London games, and you had 8 true road games. This year, it's going to be a little better in that regard. You're going to have 8 games in Jacksonville, you're going to have 8 road games, and you're only going to have 1 London game. So from that standpoint, the schedule is an advantage, plus it's a third-place schedule for the Jaguars. Unfortunately, Tennessee was awful last year, so they get the 4th-place schedule. But the Jaguars get a 3rd-place schedule, which in theory should be easier than what Indianapolis has and easier than what Houston has, at least a couple of those weeks.
Yeah, and again, the Jaguars aren't at any disadvantage in the division. Houston and Indy and Tennessee, they've got to play the NFC West and the AFC West too. So, the Jaguars don't have to go to Seattle, which is the worst trip. So they are spared that. So everybody in the division is going to have a tough road schedule. What makes it different for the Jaguars is that they also play a game in London. But anyway, it'll be again interesting to see once we get the official schedule exactly how it works out for the Jaguars. But don't be surprised if we find out in a month or so that the Jaguars requested the league, hey, we'd like to play 2 of those games in consecutive weekends. When we come back on the Frangie Show, we're going to get it back to the Final Four. I want to get Hack's thoughts just on Final Four in general. We'll talk some Gators, but also want to get into Auburn, Bruce Pearl, Janai Broom. Will he be available? He met with reporters today, and get Hacker's thoughts on that Duke-Houston national semifinal as well. You're listening to the Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Take Jacksonville with you.
There's no place like home.
Listen to 1010XL away from home.
Oh, but anyway, Toto, we're home. Home.
Download the 1010XL and XL 92.5 FM apps for free on Apple and Android devices.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you. Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
David here with Royal Pest Services. Man, don't let your yard be torn up by that heavy aeration machine this spring. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to learn more about our granular aeration. Broadcast throughout the tree and shrubs to break up that compacted soil. Visit RoyalPestServices.com.
Best Bet is number one. That's right. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine have one-card poker, the fastest and easiest card game to learn and play. Play one card at a time, and the highest card wins even money. If the card values are the same, it's time for war, just like the game you remember. You must be 18 years or older to play. Learn all the games at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
I insist on complete honesty.
You can chime in anytime on the 1010XL text line.
Installed by Lifetime Flooring.
If you have something to say to me, I wish you would just say it.
Share your opinion.
Nuts?
What?
641-1010.
It's crazy.
Right now, they're on their way to disrupt your life, make you uncomfortable, and rob you. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. That's right. Summer heat and humidity are about to attack North Florida again. You know what to do. Call Mike Merritt. Mike Merritt's Heating and Air has a license to chill. When heat and humidity are attacking you, Mike Merritt provides a comfortable chill at a bargain price. Mike has been keeping North Florida comfortable for 30 years. Mike Merritt technicians are never paid commissions, meaning you'll never be pressured to buy something you don't need. And Mike Merritt knows cooling issues can arise anytime. They don't just happen during business hours. So Mike Merritt never charges overtime fees. When you need us, we're here for you. Remember, in the fight against heat and humidity, Mike Merritt has a license to chill. Visit merrittair.com. Florida license number CACO 50384.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Enhance your home with Renewal by Anderson's superior craftsmanship and timeless design. Right now, get $300 off all windows or $825 off patio doors. Plus, zero down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months, but this offer expires April 30th. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and there's so many cool products that are on the line at Cycles of Jacksonville. Showroom is Atlantic and Regency, and we're talking, Greg, you've got from any level of price point, the experienced rider to the inexperienced on-road, off-road.
We've got it. We've got ATVs, we've got motorcycles, we've got scooters, we even have the new Honda boats. We've got something for everyone.
Don't forget about the boat line from Honda. It's all right there, waiting for you. Atlantic and Regency, or Cycles of Jacksonville's Facebook page.
Pick an ear for Bound 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bound 9. Visit Bound 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bound 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
No matter what the reason, sending a floral arrangement from Kuhn Flowers always works. For unique and special gifts, visit their showroom on Beach Boulevard. ET here with 1010XL. Kuhn Flowers is my go-to, and it should be yours too. Online at kuhnflowers.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
All right, welcome back to The Frangie Show. Frank is on vacation. He'll be back next week. Hacker is here. We've got JJ La Silva. I am Hays Carlyon. We are going to talk some Final Four. Hacker, do you have a preference for Duke Houston? Who would you like to see win that game?
Well, my wife's family lives in Maine. So I went up to visit them a couple weeks ago, and they're all Cooper Flag all the time. It's like Maine's proudest son right now. So they are all in on Cooper Flag, and I see how the NBA teams are beginning to tank now to get in the Cooper Flag sweepstakes. Amazingly enough, all these teams that are out of contention are now resting their guys with 5 or 6 games to go. I want to see Cooper Flag because he's been dynamic. I was, quite frankly, very surprised that they did to Alabama what they did. I'm not surprised they won, but Alabama, that was not much of a game in the second half. And the thing with Duke, Hayes, if I'm thinking about from a Florida perspective, I'd like to see Houston win because Duke is really big. I mean, they play, all their guys are 6'6" and taller. And if I'm looking ahead to potentially a Florida-Duke situation, if both teams win, all right, what does that mean for Elijah Martin and Denzel Aberdeen and Walter Clayton when you're having to guard guys that are 4, 5, 6 inches taller than our guards? Duke is just a massively big team, tall and all that. So I would expect Duke to win, but Houston, their defense is legit. Tennessee was miserable on Sunday. That was unbelievable what they did to the Volunteers. So I think it's going to be a really good game. And I'll be very interested in watching it, assuming Florida wins.
Yeah.
If Florida doesn't win, I don't know how interested I'll be in watching that game.
Yeah. If Florida loses the first one, then I'll just find out what happened in the Duke.
I'll be
Houston
inconsolable and I'll be under the covers in bed.
Right. Yeah. No doubt about it. It's interesting in terms of looking at this Final Four with the coaches. You've got Bruce Pearl, who's in like his 30th year as a coach, obviously looking for his first national title. Kelvin Sampson at Houston has had a really long career, has done a lot of good things, but looking for that first national championship. I thought you felt that you mentioned the Tennessee loss to Houston. I think you kind of felt with Rick Barnes that albatross of that program's never been to a Final Four. And I really thought that'd be an outstanding game.
Yeah.
And Tennessee was just never in it. I mean, it was almost like mentally, they just were never into the game. And Houston certainly deserves credit. And they're the best defensive team of these 4 that are left. So it's interesting. And then you've got Todd Golden and you've got John Shire, who were basically newbies, at this stage. So it's really interesting to see, will either of these games Saturday night be decided because maybe a team pressed a little bit, whether it's players trying to win it for an older coach who's never, won a national title, or will it be maybe teams with coaches that are inexperienced and maybe they, have some sort of, panic or something like that. These 4 have been so spectacular all season. It's hard to see something like that happening, but Tennessee was very tested. And I thought they more mentally wilted than physically just didn't, match up with what Houston wanted to do.
I want to see Duke. And we saw it a little bit in the Arizona game in the Sweet 16, but I'm not sure if that game was ever really in doubt in the last couple of minutes. I want to see Duke be in a 1 or 2 possession game with 3 or 4 minutes to go. Duke is sensational, but the ACC was hot garbage this year. It was a horrible conference that Duke just absolutely destroyed everybody in their path. I mean, without Cooper Flag, for the most part in the ACC tournament, they had a pretty easy time of it, all things considering. Duke, I don't know how they've been if we've never seen Duke in a Florida situation against Texas Tech, or Duke in a Florida situation against UConn, even Houston against Purdue in Indianapolis, trailing in the final minutes. Houston found a way to win. Auburn was down to Michigan with 10 minutes to go, came back and ended that game on like a 40-17 run to win it by double digits. Not to say Duke has not had close games, but Duke has controlled a large majority of these recent games because they're really good. Let's see them get punched in the mouth with 5 minutes to go and be down by a bucket or 2, and then we'll see how Cooper Flag and those guys respond, because we haven't seen that yet.
In terms of Florida, his Todd Golden's run to the Final Four, has it changed at all your opinion of the program? Because to me, what's so amazing is I think we kind of look at Florida as it's a good program, but it's certainly not a blue blood program and maybe not even be like the next tier. But I kind of feel like that's changed a little bit, because you're now talking about a Florida Gators men's basketball program that the last 4 head coaches that they have had have gotten to at least the Elite 8. And Lon Kruger got beyond that. He got to a Final Four. Billy obviously won 2 titles. Mike White got to an Elite 8, and now Todd Golden's gotten to a Final Four. Is the Florida program better than maybe what we believe it is?
I mean, look, if you look at their resume compared to a lot of teams around the nation, yeah, I don't know if I'd call them a blue blood, but they're certainly in the conversation for one of the better programs. I was asked earlier this week, is Florida a top 5 college basketball program since the year 2000? I think it's hard to argue that they're not. I mean, you're talking about Final Four in 2000, championships in 6 and 7, Final Four in 14, now a Final Four in 25. I mean, that's a lot of Final Fours. That's 5 Final Fours in 25 years. That's one every 5 years. I was very, very happy that Mike White was no longer the coach at Florida. I made that abundantly clear many times that I just thought his time had come and gone. And you see what happened. Mike White's a guy that would get Florida to 5th or 6th in the conference, would be a 7 or 8 seed in the tournament, might win a game, or maybe if he has a miraculous Chris Chiozza shot at the buzzer, might go a little further in the tournament. But that's what Florida had turned into under Mike White. Todd Golden, in less than 3 years, has got these guys at 34-4 and back in the Final Four for the first time in over a decade. So I think now the sky's the limit. You know what this feels like to me, Hayes? And I hate to even use Todd Golden and Billy Donovan in the same comparison, but I'm going to here. This feels like Billy Donovan's team in the year 2000. We obviously didn't know what was coming in 05 and 06, 07, but you knew that 2000 team was deep. They were good. Billy was a good recruiter, Billy the Kid, and you thought, all right, Florida's going to be good now for the foreseeable future. That's what I feel with Todd Golden. Maybe 5 years from now, we'll be talking about back-to-back titles. Maybe we're talking about a title on Monday night. But I think it's kind of built now to where Todd Golden, this team is not going to go 13-18 next year and miss the NCAA tournament. I mean, he's an established young coach, enthusiasm. Kids are going to want to play for him. I can't wait to see what he does in the portal and with recruiting after this run. It certainly feels like now kind of how Billy had it in that 2000 run.
Yeah, it's a great point. And you're right. Over the last 60 days, has a coach in college basketball increased his star wattage more than Todd Golden? I mean, no one basically knew who he was until this run. And now if Todd Golden is coming to your school to recruit you or, meeting with you in terms of, a portal edition, reaches out, I mean, that's going to mean something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and so, yeah, I would agree with you. I think the program is in excellent hands with Todd Golden. It'll just be a situation of, can Florida keep him? I don't think they have to worry about him leaving for like a lateral job. But look, if Bill Self retires and Kansas comes open, or Shire goes to the NBA and Duke comes open, all these things are, I mean, Shire is at his alma mater, so he may coach Duke for 40 years. Hubert Davis at North Carolina is there for a little bit longer, got an extension. But if one of those jobs open, I think you're going to always have to be a little nervous, like you were with Billy and the Kentucky, and anytime Kentucky opened. And maybe the NBA would have an interest in Todd Golden. I don't know, but
I think that's ultimately, we're talking way down the road here. I think he's going to take the Billy philosophy. I expect him to be at Florida for a while, but I do foresee a situation a decade from now where maybe after a national title, maybe after he feels like he's done enough at Florida, he seems to me to be a guy that's going to want to challenge himself in the NBA.
Do you like how he's handled the portal situation? Because Florida has done, at least, maybe they're doing some things behind the scenes, but Golden's been pretty resolute on, we're not even looking at the portal until this run is over. I owe it to these guys for us not to do anything until this season ends.
Yeah, what I thought was interesting is Auburn actually added someone out of the portal yesterday or a couple of days ago. I'm thinking, all right, they're getting ready for the Final Four and they're active in the portal. I guess if you can, devote the resources to that. No, I don't. Right now, I don't even care about the portal. Now, I'll care about the portal on Tuesday or maybe on Sunday if they lose Saturday night. But for the here and now, you're in the Final Four, man. Go win a national championship. When people go down to the O'Connell Center to watch this game or watch this team play, or they tune into 1010XL to listen to these games or listen to us talk about the Gators or talk about the Gators with their buddies, you know what they're not talking about a majority of the time? Hey, man, what are they going to do in the portal? You know what they are talking about? We're in the Final flipping four. So absolutely, the portal will be there in a couple of weeks. If you lose out on a couple of guys, well, so be it. You're one of the last 4 teams standing. that should take massive, massive priority for you right now.
Absolutely, and I'll leave us with this thought in terms of Florida as a program. And granted, they've got to play 80 minutes of fantastic basketball for this stat to come online. But if Florida does win the national title, if they beat Auburn and they beat the winner of Duke Houston, that will obviously be their third national championship as a program. That would tie Villanova for 8th all time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not, 8th all time? That's not, a big club. I mean, the schools that would be ahead of them, UCLA, Kentucky, North Carolina, UConn, Duke, Indiana, and Kansas. But if you're right there with those schools and Villanova, I mean, I don't think winning Monday night makes Florida necessarily a blue blood. But, boy, they're pushing it. If, again, 80 minutes of great basketball have to be played to get to that point. But if they're able to do it, that's pretty elite company.
I mean, the fact is you can dislike the Gators and you can say they're a football school, which I still believe they are. But this is their 6th Final Four in about 3 decades, 31 years, going back to 1994. Like we said, their 5th Final Four in the last 25 years. They've played in the national championship game in 2000, 05. 06, and now they're back in the Final Four for the first time since 14. They are an established program, and like you said, if they win the national championship, 2 more wins, that gets them to 8th all time. How many Division I schools are there?
357.
357, and you're tied for 8th? That's statistics, man. That's not an opinion, right? That's not an opinion. That is factual. Florida would be in the top 10 for national championship in men's college basketball. Opinions are great. I like to reside on facts. And factually, Florida then, to me, would be among the top 10 or 15 programs in the land.
Absolutely. When we come back, we've got one more segment on the Frangie Show before we hand it off to Rick Ballou for Into the Night. We're going to leave you with a Jaguars thought. You're listening to the Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The PGA Tour playing at the TPC San Antonio this week for the Valero Texas Open. It's the final warm-up event before next week's Masters that begins on April 10th. Scottie Scheffler is the defending champion of the green jacket. He's also the betting favorite to win again. Scheffler is at plus 440, while Rory McIlroy, who needs a Masters to complete the career Grand Slam, is at plus 625. Colin Morikawa, a 2-time major winner, is at plus 1400. Ludwig Oberg, who won the Genesis Invitational earlier this year at Torrey Pines, plus 1600. Former Masters champion John Rahm, plus 1,700. Bryson DeChambeau at plus 1,800. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
Trying to figure pricing at most AC companies is like listening to an auctioneer.
Who wants an AC tune-up? Do I hear $3.99? How about $2.99? No, let's drop it. $79? Do we have a deal? Going once, going twice? Sold!
Not at Duck Duck Air Conditioning. We make it easy. We're offering a free AC inspection. No gimmicks, no fine print, just a completely free checkup from our highly trained techs to make sure your AC is ready for summer. Call 904-862-6769 now to schedule. Duck Duck Air Conditioning, because free is better than bidding. Any required repairs are not included in the inspection.
Before you buy that diamond ring at one of those mega national chain jewelry stores, get a second opinion and save money at Beard's Diamonds.
We will beat anybody's price anywhere.
Meet John Lupo, owner of Beard's Diamonds, the town center's only locally owned jeweler with international connections.
We go directly right to the cutters. There is no middlemen, no wholesalers. It goes from the cutter to the consumer.
And John says Beard's selection is second to none.
You'll walk in the store and you'll see more diamonds, more bracelets, more earrings than anywhere in Jacksonville. I guarantee it.
And at Beard's Diamonds, you get a lifetime warranty and a nationwide price protection guarantee.
You can buy with confidence at Beard's. Everything comes with a money-back guarantee, and we will make sure you're 100% satisfied. We stand behind everything all the time.
All this plus no commission salespeople and a total no-pressure experience.
We want you to be a Beard's customer, and we'll do anything to get it.
Beard's Diamonds, a refreshing alternative to mega chain jewelers.
Everybody gets a good deal at Beard's.
Been in a car crash?
I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball is home at the newly renovated VyStar Ballpark this weekend. Join us tonight for Coors Light Thirsty Thursday. Fireworks tomorrow and Saturday. Fireworks presented by Oaks RV Resort. Catch on field before Family Sunday. Tickets start at just $5. JackShrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable family fun.
Your chance to play in the Masters is coming.
Let the big dog eat.
Okay. With 1010XL's You Pick 'em contest.
Win $1,000 of jewelry from Beards Diamonds. Teed up by Pella Windows and Doors. Go to 1010XL.com now.
Why is the Dead Sea so named? The answer next.
Southern Oak Insurance is proud to continue offering coverage statewide. Financial stability makes Southern Oak Insurance a wise choice for your homeowner's insurance needs. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The Dead Sea is 9 times saltier than any other sea, which means no living creature can actually live there.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com. And let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, rolling lot bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold hard cash, so you can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, often no appraisals. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day, so act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. Get the money you need for anything at 904-999-1508 or just go to LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. Went smooth as silk. Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, we have had a fantastic Frangie show today. We were really intrigued by this trailer the Jaguars put out last night in regards to the hunt. And Baselli's comments about we're at ground zero in a staff meeting, that will be fantastic. The hunt comes out at 7 o'clock tonight, so just about an hour and 15 minutes from now. And the Jaguars tweeted out just a little bit ago, Hack, 36 minutes will be this documentary, this edition of the hunt. So that should be outstanding. Lee Smith joined us from the Players Championship to break down some early storylines for the Masters. We talked a lot of Gators and a lot of Final Four. So it's been fun. We have not talked about the Naked Gun movie trailer.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I have. I saw it earlier today, and I was skeptical when I saw Liam Neeson is going to be Frank Drebin's son, right?
Yeah.
Leslie Nielsen's son.
I didn't know that until I saw the trailer.
Yeah, I had read that, and then I'm like, all right. So I saw the trailer. There is a scene in this trailer that is just makes you want to go see the movie even more. Should we say it for people?
No, don't spoil
All
it.
right.
But you will. If you enjoy the spirit of the Naked Gun from the 1980s, I guess it was 80s and then maybe early 90s. They made like 3 of them.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. It's that airplane slapstick kind of humor. But I'm intrigued with Liam Neeson. I think he can do it. Remember, Leslie Nielsen was not a comedic actor until he did Airplane. He had been a serious actor throughout his entire life, and he was probably into his 50s when he did Airplane. And then like 6-7 years later, did the Naked Gun.
It's Enrico Palazzo.
Right. And so that'll be a lot of fun. It's like I said, it's only about a minute long, but there is a belly laugh at the end of the trailer.
There's a 5-second part at the end of that trailer that is completely worth it and worth your time. Just Google or YouTube or put on X the Naked Gun trailer, and you will certainly enjoy that. Quickly, the hunt tonight, Jaguars.com, as you mentioned 36 minutes. Like we said, the Jaguars.com folks are so good at what they do that they made Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke look somewhat interesting last year in these and somewhat entertaining. I can't wait to see James Gladstone, and I can't wait to see Liam Cohen and Tony Baselli. And they talk about unprecedented access for 36 minutes. I imagine if you're a Jaguar fan tonight or tomorrow, whenever you watch it, you're really going to enjoy it. I'm going to watch some of it during the 7 o'clock hour to get ready for my show at 8, and I'll react to it at 8 o'clock. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, what do you guys have coming up? Well, I say you guys. What do you have coming up for Hacker After Dark?
Yeah,
tonight?
Hacker After Dark tonight, 8 o'clock. We'll follow Baloo here on 1010XL. We'll obviously react to The Hunt as it debuts tonight on Jaguars.com. Also, Mark Wise of ESPN. Love Mark. Guy's a college basketball encyclopedia. He'll join me to preview the Final Four, and JP Acosta of SB Nation. So we're pretty loaded starting at 8 o'clock tonight on Hacker After Dark.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. And again, going back to that comment, I mean, the comment Tony Baselli made, again, now EVP, I mean, it's pretty striking to hear him say, we're at ground zero. Now, again, we don't know the context of what they're talking about. And obviously, I'm sure we'll get more information in the 36-minute episode. But I thought that was really revealing that was a comment that not only he made, but that they put out there in a trailer for this.
Yeah, it was in a coaching meeting, it looked like, from what had happened. And they've put out little excerpts in the last couple of weeks. I talked about this when they put it out 2 weeks ago. The film from the free agent war room. They had an agent of one of the guys call in and say, congratulations, done deal. And the raw emotion of James Gladstone and of Liam Cohen and of Tony Baselli. Look, you can't manufacture that. And I know some people say, cheesier or whatever. I eat that stuff up. I love the raw, genuine emotion. And nothing against Doug Peterson. That just really wasn't who he was. Can you say nothing against Trent Baalke in this city? I think you have to have something against him.
Now that he's been fired.
Right. I think everybody at some point, unfortunately, probably a really nice guy, but everybody GM-wise had an issue with Trent Baalke. Nothing against him, but that wasn't really who he was either. But I love the emotion from Gladstone, Cohen, and Baselli, and I think that'll come through tonight on this episode as well.
It really should be a lot of fun, and obviously we'll go into. I know you'll go into a lot of detail tonight on your show. We'll certainly talk about it as well on tomorrow's Frangie Show, and tomorrow we'll have Pete Prisco at 5. So we'll get Pete's thoughts as well about where the Jaguars are headed. And again, there's going to be revelations in this. I mean, if you've got 36 minutes. And your trailer was as good as the 2-minute trailer that we saw. I mean, there is, I think, going to be some really interesting dynamics that come out of this.
And it goes back to the coaching search. The trailer last night started with the coaching search and then morphed into the GM search. I'm sure the Baselli, hire will be included in this. and then obviously all the way up through free agency, the combine as well. Yeah, it's going to be pretty enlightening.
Absolutely. And we will get this gentleman's thoughts on it right now. Let's do this.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Rick Ballou, what'd you make of Tony Baselli on the Hunt trailer saying to the staff, we're at ground zero?
Yeah.
And it was a little more colorful than that.
He dropped an F-bomb.
He did.
I love the guy. He needs to bring a little nasty to this team, and particularly the offensive line. I haven't seen it. I think it comes out tonight, but I saw the trailer, and it was pretty inspiring. You know, I think that most of us would agree that it feels different around here. And, you know, we had the conversation just the other day about how this organization became comfortable with losing and how you can't be that way at this level. And I think those three guys see that. I know Tony does. I mean, I've had conversations with Tony for years and years and years, just knowing him the way that I have and working on the Jaguars radio network. And, you know, obviously I respect what he said to me, and I'll keep that amongst myself. But there's no question about it. Tony Baselli wants the Jaguars to win, and that's why they need to make that hire. You need to put someone in there that's going to walk around town here and is going to be just as upset as our listeners are when they get up on Monday morning, they got to go to the work week and come home to their wife and everything else, that it bothers them, and it bothers Tony Baselli.
Absolutely. What's coming up tonight?
We got a lot tonight. Speaking of Tony Baselli, a guy who played two spots to his right is Dave Weidel. Always very opinionated. I haven't caught up with David in a little bit, so I want to get his thoughts on the new brass and also what he believes Jacksonville should do at number 5. We've got the very latest on that coming up tonight as well, and a couple of other surprises, so should be a lot of fun.
Great stuff. We'll be listening. Thanks so much. All right, that's going to do it for us, Hacker. Thanks so much again. Look forward to one more, hopefully 2 more.
Yeah.
Because hopefully we're doing the show Monday, because that would mean that Frank is still in San Antonio getting ready to watch the national title game. But really appreciate you joining us this week, and it's been a lot of fun. So one more day, and looking forward to it.
Hays, you're the man. We'll do it again tomorrow. All
right, thanks so much. For Hacker, for JJ, for the vacationing Frank Frangie, I am Hays Carlyon. Into the Night with Rick Ballou is up next. You're listening to 1010XL, 92.5 FM.